Welcome to Oracle SQL and PLSQL session. Hello everyone. Very good morning and good evening to all. So whenever you are going to execute any PLSQL block, the Oracle divides the PLSQL block into two different statements, right? So if you have any SQL statement within PLSQL statement, any DML, any statement if you have, then but this PLSQL block will segregate procedural language into procedural statement executor and SQL into SQL statement executor. So this is what Oracle server will process. And if you have any PLSQL statement, within the PLSQL statement, if you have any SQL statement, like insert statement or any statement, then from the PLSQL block to SQL block, this switching will happen. So this is called context switching, right? So I have already explained this. Context switching will happen. So because of this context switching, it will take a lot of time. Okay, the performance issue. If you're going for millions of record, okay, so you are going to process like huge volume of record. Yes, definitely we'll be facing this context switching. So what is this context switching? Okay, so how it will impact? I'll explain. To avoid the context switching, we can go for bulk collect. So bulk collect means, okay, so bulk collect reduces context switches between SQL and PLSQL engine, right? So what we are going to do, instead of each and every row by row, instead of going with procedural block to SQL block. So instead of switching like this, okay, so only one time at a time, we are fetching whatever the data we need to process in PLSQL engine. We are going to collect bulkly and then load it into this PLSQL block. Okay, so after that, you can start processing it. So that is what PLSQL block, the bulk collect will do. Okay, so here if you see, PLSQL engine allows SQL engine to fetch the record at once. A bulk collect is a method of fetching the data where PLSQL engine tells SQL engine to collect many rows at once and place them in a collection. Okay, so you can do three things. One is you can do collections by using, you can do bulk collect by using three different ways. One is you can go for the select statement. Select column names, bulk collect into collections, fetch cursor. So if you're going to use cursor, you can use this keyword like a fetch cursor, bulk collect into collections, or you can go for execute immediate. Okay, query string, bulk collect into collections. But we will use always collections. You remember yesterday we have seen collections, right? Three different collection types we have. So any one we can use it. So how can I use this bulk collect? If you see this, select column names, bulk collect into bulk variable from table name like this. Okay, fetch cursor name, bulk collect into bulk variable. So this is what you can use. And even you can go for two other word called bulk binding. So bulk collect means collecting the data. So from here, from SQL engine to PLSQL engine, we are collecting bulk, and bulk processing is called bulk binding. So that's called your for all statement. Okay. So for all helps us to perform the data manipulation language. Okay. DML operations on data in bulk. So if you want to do any data manipulation operations, okay, in the bulk, okay, in a bulk way, then you can use a keyword called for all. Okay. It is very similar to for loop. With for loop, it will happen record level. One by one, it will happen, right? So record by record, it will go for. So since it is going for record by record, it will take a lot of time. That's why we are going for all statement to collect bulk data at a time. Okay, so for looping statements. So this is a statement. We can go for all. It's a single word. Okay, so looping variable in lower range dot higher range. So this is what you have to go for. So sometimes what will happen if you are doing bulk collect, okay, if you are doing bulk collect, if it has huge volume of data, then bulk collect also performance wise, we may face issues. So instead of going for bulk collect completely, you can use limit keyword. Okay, so you can use limit keyword. Okay, so you can limit 10,000 record at a time or 100K records at a time. So that's what you can use the limit keyword. So we'll see all the examples one by one. So what is context switching? We will see now. So I'm going to create one table called, just simply I'm going to create bulk table. Just the name of the table called bulk table, just I'm creating with one ID column. Okay, ID column. Then what I'm going to do? So I'm going to create one more table called bulk binding. So to process the data. So two different tables I have created. See here, I'm going to use one anonymous block. So begin and end only. There is no declare keyword here. Just I'm using begin and end. So here I'm going to use the begin and end. Within the begin and end, I'm going to use for loop. So for I, so this is a lower range. For I in from 1 to is 1 million record. Okay, so for I in 1 to 1 million record, looping statements, an end loop, insert into bulk table values I. So whatever the value I am getting, that just simply we are going for loop. So once 1 million record has been loaded, I'm just committing, I'm just ending. Okay. So if you see this particular table, okay, so I'm just taking this select count of star from this table, bulk table. There is, sorry, I should not use control enter. Just you can go for count. There is no count. Okay, so just I'm going to execute. So this is called context switching. Okay, this is called context switching. Why it is context switching? If you see this, begin, I'm using PLSQL statement, right? For is nothing but it's like a PLSQL statement. So in this PLSQL statement, I'm calling SQL statement, right? So for I in this one, this will be taken care. This will be taken care by PLSQL engine. But the insert statement will be taken care by this one. So 1 million times row by row, the context switching will happen from year to year. If you see this, so for I, S1, then looping, insert. So SQL statement only process the insert statement, but increment by PLSQL statement, right? So if I'm going to execute, it will take more time. You can see here, this context switching is happening and it is taking a lot of time. To load 1 million record, how much time it is taking, we'll see. It has been completed. You can see here task completed in 26 seconds, right? So we can see this task has been completed by 26.71 seconds. So almost 27 seconds, right? Okay, if you go and check the count here, you'll be seeing this count is 1 million. So 1 million record has been loaded. If you go and check, select star from this table, you'll be seeing all the records one by one. 1 million record is there in the table. Okay, it is taking a lot of time. 26 seconds it has taken to load one particular column with 1 million record. Yes. So the same scenario, we are going for bulk binding. So what is bulk collect or bulk binding? The bulk binding is nothing but processing the data. Okay. So how we are doing it? If you see this, to avoid this, I'm just using the bulk collect. So this is the keyword. Okay, select. This time I'm using select. Select star bulk collect. Okay, select star bulk collect is the keyword. Okay, so if you see this, what is the keyword for bulk collect? So this is the syntax. Select column names bulk collect into collections. Okay, so select star bulk collect into collections. It's a, what is this? It is a table, right? So record type. Even you can go for this is table. So table record type. We're using record type is table of bulk percentage row type. It's a collection, right? So collections we are using variable of this particular type, record type variable. So from the record type, the collections we are loading them. So collection we are seeing it will take that data as array of values, right? Array of values. So that's why we are going for all. So here I'm using for all statement to process the data. So from the bulk table, it's a table, right? One table we have loaded already. So from the table, I'm going to take now. I'm not going to take from like this. I'm not going to take since I have data in the table. I'm going to take the data from table and I'm going to collect all the data and store it into one variable called collection variable called VT. Okay, so variable table. I'm just creating one variable. That's it for this table. So I'm just storing the data at a time, single time. I have collected all the data and stored the value in the one variable. After that, I'm going for the SQL statement, right? So this is called bulk collect. So for all means bulk binding. So single time, okay, it will not go for what row by row. Single time, it will go for insertion. So for all I in 1 to vt.count. You remember yesterday we have seen collection methods. So what is the use of collection methods? The count. So it will go up to this vt.count, up to this count value. We may not know how many records are there. The dynamically it will allocate the array of values. Okay, it will take the count and it is inserting. Same thing I'm going for this bulk bind table, insert into bulk bind table, right? So I'm going to use this bulk bind table. How many records are there now? Select count of star from this one. So how much time it is taking to process this particular data? As of now, 0. I'm going to run it. This is also loading 1 million record into this table. Okay. So selecting the data and loading the data. That's it. So select and then load. See how much time it has taken. Not even 1 second, right? So 0.987. That's it. So instead of taking 26 seconds, the same data it has taken by using the bulk collect, it has taken within 1 second, right? So if you are going for any real-time project, if you want to process like a millions of data, so you can always use bulk collect. Okay, it's one of the performance improvement method in PLSQL. So this is the way we'll go for bulk collect. Still, we will see more examples. So what is the statement will do? The statement will do. If you see the statement, we have already seen the statement, right? So set server output on, clear screen, declare, and end. And just I'm using two variables, first name and employee salary. So begin first name salary into v first name, v salary from employees, employee ID equal to 120. So just I'm going to execute this one. Okay. So here I'm getting the value in this way. Okay. So select statement in PLSQL block. That's it. If I want to go for more data, more number of records. So here I'm just using this way. What will happen? So it will be errored out, right? It will be errored out. You are getting more number of records from the table. It will be errored out. So too many rows. So I'm just handling it exceptions. So whenever the exception is happening, it will go to the exception block and it will take when too many rows. Yes, it will raise one exception that is nothing but too many rows. So when this error is occurring, so it will be returned this particular one. We are not terminating the procedure, just we are handling it exceptions. We'll see the exceptions next one. We are seeing that many rows are returned from the base table, right? So that's what I have written here. So it has been handled, procedure successfully completed, but we are getting error. Okay. The exceptions handled. But if I want to go for multiple rows, what I will do, I'll use cursor, right? I'll use cursor. So remember we have used cursor. So cursor C1 select statement, all the data, and we are opening the cursor, looping, and fetch the value, exit when seen not found. If you're going like this, so from the beginning to end, it will go and print all the values, right? This is cursor. So you can go for even cursor. It will take a lot of time if you have millions of records. So that's a disadvantage here. So each and every record, it will go for the context switching. Okay, so it will take some time. So to avoid this, we are going for the bulk collect and composite variable. So remember, I have explained this one while taking the cursor. So we can do more number of data. We can go for bulk collect or we can go for cursor. So bulk collect, if you're going with, so just I'm selecting declare within the end. I'm going for the begin. Select, I'm taking salary column alone. Select salary, bulk collect into NT salary. So what is this? This is a collection. So table, right? Nested table. So I'm using type nested table. Salary is table of number of 10. Just I'm using this one called number of 10. Okay, so this variable I'm just assigning it, and I'm assigning null value for this. Okay, so I'm not assigning here. Even you can remove this, no issues. So just you can variable declaration of this particular type. Then we are going for the for I, right? For I into this one looping statement completely. Yesterday we have seen first, right? The NT dot salary collection dot first. So from the first value to last value, it will be going to the loop and it will be processed. You remember yesterday you asked what is the use of this collection method, all this. See this kind of looping. So this kind of data processing bulk collect, this collections will be used mostly. Okay. So if you see this, so it will be performed very quickly. So that is what we are going for the bulk collect. So bulk collect information. Okay. So even if you see this, these are all the bulk collect one, and we have a lot of concepts are there. So we'll go through one by one. Okay. So bulk collect to avoid the context switching. So that's what we have seen. Okay. So now we will go for one more examples. So if you take this particular examples, it's called a context switching, right? So we have seen already, but this is for employees table. So what is this particular procedure will do? Create or replace procedure, just one procedure called increment. So increase in the salary. I have to pass department ID as an input parameter and increase percentage. So how much percentage I have to increase for this particular department. So that we have to give. Both are input parameter. So one is what is a employees department ID data type. Increase percentage is number is begin. So I do not have any variable to declare. I'm going with for loop. So for this is a record, right? So record in select statement. So whatever the select statement, whatever the department ID I'm passing from here, so that will be passed here, right? So that will be passed here, department ID, increase salary dot department ID in. So this input parameter will be passed, it will be placed here. Okay, so it will be placed. So for an example, department ID 30 I'm passing. Select employee ID from employees where department ID equal to 30. So all the employee ID will be taken and it will be stored in the record, this employee underscore record. Then I'm going for the loop for this one. Record dot, I'll go one by one. So update employees, set to this one. Employees, so increase end loop. So just I'm going with, so just I'm updating the salary for this, right? So I will go compiled. I have compiled, but I want to execute. Okay, so I have compiled here and I have to execute. So if I'm going to execute, just this is the procedure name, input parameters, department ID and percentage. I'm passing the department ID. Okay, any department ID can pass 10% increment on the salary, right? Just passing 10%. So, but here I'm rolling back to avoid the the update statement. If I'm going to update it for the 50th department, it will go and update for all the record 10% increment. So that's what it will go for loop. Okay. Okay. So wherever the employee ID here it is passing, so those many record, it will be passed here and it will go to the loop. Okay. So it will go to the loop for all the record 10% increment on the salary. So this is like one by one. One by one, the record will be processed, right? This is one by one. Still here, if you see this loop, it's every record will go for. If you have some 1 million record or some 100K records, so every one by one, all the record, it will go and update. So it will take a lot of time. So to avoid this, we can use bulk collect. Okay, so we can use bulk collect. So what is that? See, bulk collect, you can use different way, as I told. So one thing is you can use select statement, or you can go for, so bulk collect to fetch employees data. So the same way I'm using this bulk collect, select star bulk collect into L underscore employees. This is nothing but it's a collection. Okay, in the collection, it will be stored all the values from employees, right? So collection dot count, you'll be getting how many count, right? So each and every one value for this index. Just even you can go for record also in 1 to till the count. I'm going for the loop. So one time I'm just collecting that all the values. So from this table and loading into this L underscore employees local variable, okay, of this particular table data type. And from here, I'm going for the looping. So this way it will reduce the timing. It will reduce the timing. It will load the data. So instead of going for looping the statement to print this, even you can go for anything like insert statement, update statement, all this. So any statement you can use. So for all the record, it will update. So if you go to the previous statement, in this previous statement, we are updating only for 50th department 10% increment. But we are not going to update, just I have rolled back. So why? Because I do not want to update employees table. That's why I have rolled back. So you can use this way for the bulk collect. To avoid the bulk, to avoid the context switching, we can implement two different ways. So one is you can implement the functionality in pure SQL statement, but this is also will take more time, but you can use bulk processing feature in PLSQL. So that's the way you can increase the performance. See, this bulk collect is, we are using limit here. So limit, okay, somewhere limit will be defined. I can take. So this is called bulk collect. We are collecting data from the base table and storing into one PLSQL variable called L underscore employees. After bringing the data to PLSQL block, that is our local memory, then we are processing it at one single time. Okay, this is called bulk collect. It will be processed very quickly. To avoid the performance degradation, you can go for bulk collect. So here just we have used the limits. Okay, the limit keyword. So what is the limit? So here we are using limit is 100. So you can use limit more number of limit. Okay, it's a constant we are defining. Why? Because this number should not be changed. And then this PLS integer, what is that? I will explain. This is PLSQL data type. Okay, PLSQL data type is called PLSQL integer. This one I will explain later. Default value I'm giving like 100. So instead of taking the value more values, just I'm collecting only 100 values. So you can go for something like 10,000 record at a time. Okay, so 10,000 record, 10,000 record, so that you will not get more performance issue, even though you are going for bulk collect. You can use this way. Fetch, this is cursor. Okay, so cursor bulk collect into this one limit. Just you have to add one keyword called limit. That limit you have to declare here. That's it. Other than that, everything is similar. This is cursor, this is collections, and we are just looping, and we are fetching, and just here printing. That's it. So instead of printing, you can go for, in real-time project, you can go for SQL statements. Okay. So this loop for cursor loop. Okay. This loop for loop, inside for loop. So as we have seen already using cursor, how it will be performed, and by using the bulk collect, how it will be performed. So what is the context switching? If they ask in interview, you can explain them. Okay. So clearly, if you are going for context switching, so definitely it'll be taking more time. So instead of going for context switching, we are going for this one. Instead of printing the values, if you use DBMS output, it will print a value. In real-time project, instead of printing a value, you can use some executable statement here. You can, some calculation you can go for. Okay, some calculations, you can use this value. You can use any values inside.